सो प्रभ नदर नाया वही मानमुख पूज ना पाए, जिस विखाले सोई वेखे नानक गुरमुख पाए. And the message there was, we all try to decide upon our actions based on whether the society is watching us or not, or whether the law is watching us or not. If we can get away with the society and if we get away with the law, the rest is okay. And Guru Bani pointed out, but what about him? Does he see it or not? Do you ever consider that? Whatever you decide, whatever action you choose to take, does it ever occur to you that there is something higher than the society and higher than the law who is watching, hearing, observing everything? Sab kuch sunda vekhda. Everything is under his observation, and there is no way to deny it. Kyun mukkar paya jaye? Mukkarna means to deny. You can deny to the world. As a matter of fact, you can deny to yourself also. You can stay in denial all your life. This is not me. This can't be. No, I am not like that. Even though the whole of the world tell us that you are like that. This is your behavior. This is how you react. This is what your body language says, even though your words may be different. But we stay in denial. You say, no, it's your misunderstanding. You really don't know me, who I am. And the other actually tells you, no, we really know who you are. Because it's not the words by what you are known. It is by the deeds, it's by the actions, it's by your reactions to things that are you known. But you stay in denial. And Guru Bani pointed out that, wait a minute, that denial may be okay in the world. But there would be no way that you can deny to that ultimate creative energy. Between you and your Creator, there is no witness, there is no defense, there is no prosecutor, there is no judge. You cannot put any defense. What it is, it is. But we continue living the life. Papon pap kamande, pape pache pachaye. We continue living the life, getting attached to the negatives and running away from the positives. Why is that? So prabhanadharnaya. You are completely forgotten that there is a higher force than you are. You do not keep that in your conscious mind when you are making choices and making decisions. Whether decisions are governed by the greed, whether they are governed by the anger, whether they are governed by the jealousy, whether they are governed by attachment, it doesn't matter. You are not keeping the ultimate energy in your memory. So prabhanadharnaya vai manmukh bhuj na paye. Manmukh, the one who follows his own mind, his own experience, his own memory. That's manmukh. Man, mind, mukh, following. If there is a grace prasad coming from him, that is when the life pattern changes. If the life pattern is changing, don't consider it as if you are doing something. Consider it as a grace. Because if you think you are doing something, like, okay, see, every 2 weeks we go to a satsang and we discuss spirituality there. Right? So now, what's happening here? even though that is a factual statement, that factual statement also smacks of arrogance and ego. Means what? I am doing it. We do it. We have been so regular. We are committed to this process. So when such events take place, whatever you are doing actually get wasted. Why? Because you have become the doer. You have become the karta. You are the doer. When you are the doer, the ego keeps on getting more strong, and the ego keeps on taking you away rather than bringing it closer to him. So Gurbani reminded us in our last hymn, Jisva khale soi vekhe. Remember that. If there is something that is getting clear to your mind now, it isn't something that you have gotten smarter all of a sudden. It's not that you are the doer. It is a grace, it is a prasad, it is the benediction that is coming from the beyond. Never let this thing go away from your mind. If you don't let that go through your mind, what can happen to you? And that's the next hymn. That's why I gave you the introduction of the previous one, that you can see the linkage. Why these hymns are arranged the way they are arranged. Here is the rationale for that arrangement. The next, look at the Rahao. Man re nij ghar vasa hoye, Ram naam salah tu fir aman jaan na hoye. That is the ultimate destiny of every human being. That is the ultimate potential of every human being, which is nij ghar vasa hoye. What is a nij ghar? The original place where we all belong to. Now, what would we say if somebody was asked to, where do you belong to? Do you belong to India? My parents belong to Pakistan and there are pre-partitions. That's not Nij Ghar. Nij Ghar is where everybody originated from, the entity. The Nij Ghar for every individual is when you merge with the ultimate soul. That's the Nij Ghar. That's the original process where the whole journey started from. And it says, if you just remember one simple principle for every action, doesn't matter what that action is. Action as simple as I'm drinking water. If you just can remember that you are not the drinker of the water, the energy is being supplied by somebody else. Where is the energy coming for the arm to move? Are you supplying the energy? Well, I am moving the arm. Are you moving the arm? Can you get that concept through your mind? The energy that is in here, which is making these limbs move up and down and sideways, where is this energy coming from? Who provided that? That is a grace. That is a prasad. That is a benediction from some higher source. If you just hold on to that simple principle, just that simple, no need to do any other meditations, no need to do any bhakti or tapasya or anything, just hold on to that one principle, which is, he is the doer. I am just the instrument. The energy is somebody else's. It might appear so that I am speaking. It might appear so that I am listening. It might appear so that I am drinking, but I am not. That's an illusion. That's just a magical trick. जिस विखाले सोई वेख है. That was the last statement of the 55th hymn. Hold on to that thought and you will get to your destiny, which is Man re nij ghar vasa hoye. You will get back to your original source. Just living the life with that memory. I am not that one. Whatever is happening, somebody else is doing it through me. This statement that is coming, it is coming from somewhere else. It's not me. Have you ever thought about that as we speak, how these words are coming in sequence automatically? Right? We have not written anything, but we start speaking and the words start flowing. Well, where is this stream of thoughts so naturally strung together like completely links of a chain, one following the other in a very sequential order that is making sense to the other who's listening? Who is sitting back there who's arranging all these words? Think about that. Because the language, consisting of some 36,000 words in English alone, how is it that I am choosing these words? Where is this stream coming from? They're all jumbled in a hopper somewhere. And when they come out of the mouth, they're coming out in a very logical sequence. And if you speak to a linguist, they will tell you how the language and the words are formed. That somebody back there is an intelligence sitting, which knows exact what thought, in what sequence, and how to present it. And is arranging it. We never think. Slow down this process and you will see that this whole cosmos knowledge is available to every single entity, every single human body. All of the knowledge of the universe is available to every one of us right now as we sit here. And then there is a instrument here which receives all of that and then say, filter this I cannot take. Why? Because that's not within my belief system. If I let this go through this mind-body system, this mind-body system is going to explode. Won't be able to live with it. So it filters away. Whatever it can tolerate, it starts arranging them in the sequence. Before even you open your mouth, it's already available to you. You just open the tap and the water is already there. It starts just flowing. Once you get that, now you know, I am not the speaker. And how does Gurbani say that? Sabhe khat Ram bole, Rama bole, Ram bina ko bole re. Can somebody prove it to me? Bhaktanam Dev Ji. Say, can somebody prove to me that somebody else can speak? Sabhe ghat Ram bole, Rama bole. And look at the last statement. Ram bina ko bole re. Prove it to me. जो बोलत है मृग मीन पखेरु बिन हर हाल बिन हर बोलत है नहीं हो. मृग मीन पखेरु. Small what flies? Mrig.
Big deer.
Yeah. Running around?
Yeah.
Mean machli.
Mostly.
So one on the ground, one under the water, pankheru,
Okay.
one flying in the air. This is okay. Now I have given you 3 levels of existence and they all have sound. जो बोलत है मृग मीन पंखेरु बिन हर बोलत है नहीं हो. All sound is coming from that source. So Gurbani says, if you just take that simple thing, then you will get to a stage where man re nij ghar vasa hoye. You will get to that stage. But the problem is, we constantly forget. Constantly. We have just heard this thought and we will immediately repeat. Today we went to satsang and we heard this. What a beautiful thought. I got it. I really understand the meaning of this now. We are completely oblivious that you are nobody to understand anything. There is a grace flowing. There is a prasad flowing all the time, and you are just the recipient of that prasad today. So instead of expressing the gratitude, you end up expressing your own arrogance. Completely lose the whole opportunity. And Gurbani says, just remember this, Jis vakhale, soi vek hai. If you can remember that, you have now opened the potential for man re nij ghar vasa hoye, Ram naam salah tu fir aaman jaan na hoye. You just will get into what? Va. Ram naam salahatu. You will be in a continuous state of va. You will be in a samadhi state. You will be in an awe of everything around you. Like a little child. Butterfly comes, all he can say, look at this. Look at this. He's just running around it, trying to catch that butterfly because he's just so fascinated, how beautiful, how innocent. And he just is completely awestruck. That's how a meditator gets awestruck once he gets this through his head. A little flower, a little breeze, a rising of the sun, a sound from a bird, a blowing of the wind, a season going hard, a snow falling down, it doesn't matter. Every little thing is awe-aspiring. When you get to that stage, when you remember, I am not the doer. Human mind-body system on this planet has been given the capability to take what the nature created and mold it. Changes. Nature created the wood. We might have made a baja out of it. But no human has ever created the wood. Nature might have created you might have created the building, but the concrete came from the nature. Nature creates the raw material for everything that a human does. Think of anything that the human have done over the past history of 5,000 years that's documented on this planet and show one thing that the human created from itself. You wouldn't find a single example of that. All nature created. Nature gave us our intellect to modify it. That's about it. So if you get that concept, then you get into a stage, Ram naam salahatu fir aaman jaan na hoye. You will be in a continuous state of blissfulness and you will break the cycle of this life and death. Provided you can hold on to one simple principle. Hukam razai chalana. Ke wo sache aara hoi hai. Ke wo kude tutte paav. Okay? Here's the formula. Hukam razai chalana. If he's a doer, then you accept everything. Right? How are you going to fight with him? How are you going to argue with him? Right? You can submit all the prayers that you can. He's not changing. He does what he does. We can stand as a group and stay in prayer and say, do this and don't do that, and you say, well, that's fine. The life is what it is. You suddenly surrender. And when you surrender, what happens? This is where the hymn started from. Bin gun rog na Tutaee, haume peed na jaye, gur prasadi man vase name rahe samaye. See, that thought is being hammered again and again. Gur prasadi man. Without that, bin gur rog na Tutaee. Rog means the disease. Which disease? How man, the ego, the I, the man. The root cause of a human's trouble is that arrogance, that I. You can think about it. Why do we fight? Why do we argue? Right? Why do we get angry with each other? What do you think? Why do you get angry with your mom or your dad?
I don't know, I just do sometimes.
It happens, but why? Think about that. Something they do you don't like.
Yeah.
Right? When you don't like, what is that is inside which says I don't like? That I don't like. See the word? I don't like.
Yeah, your ego,
That
right?
That I is the ego. That means the ego is hurt. Every conflict in this world has one common denominator. Find any example in the history of mankind, past or today. Travel your journey and say, what happened here? Well, somebody is holding on to the hurt ego and is trying to defend that hurt ego, trying to make that ego higher than somebody else, better than somebody else. And immediate ego comes along. What do you mean? If I keep on saying, okay, they walk all over you. See? Ego comes right back. I'm not going to surrender, I'm going to fight. What do you mean, surrender your ego? If I surrender my ego, they take undue advantage of me. Oh, so you have something to be taken advantage of. You think that you have something to give to the world. See? You became a giver. Completely forgetting that how can I be the giver?
So just one thing, well, this is saying that become an observer. So just becoming an observer then takes you to that state. I guess we get into this anxiety state of what's going to happen next rather than becoming an observer of our actions.
And the anxiety state is because we believe that we can control the result. The anxiety is not about what I did or did not do. Anxiety is always what will happen.
Mm-hmm.
Can this action turn into this? Can this action turn into that?
So that state of anxiety to becoming an observer, being aware of that transition gets to that point, or
so long as the consciousness keeps this mind, he's the doer, and what shall be, because hukum razai chalana. If the focus remains on that, then the anxiety also drops and the observing becomes much easier, because the energy is not flowing toward the future, energy is now focused on the present. When you are worried about the future, the energy focus is over on the future. It doesn't care what is going on here. Right? I mean, you are young right now and you are worried about your retirement. And if you are not worried about retirement, he's a salesman of 401k benefits, he'll come to you and say, are you not worried about your retirement? Right? She's an insurance salesman. She will say, are you not worried about your retirement? Somebody will come and drop the seed. Now it is up to you how you respond. If you are a present thinker, you will say, no, I'm not. If you are not a present thinker, you say, well, give me some plans. And now you are on a game. You are in a roller coaster. And it becomes so difficult. What the, you mean to tell me that we should not plan? Well, people planned and it didn't work. And the people didn't plan and it did work. There are 7 people in Kaiser permanently today who never planned that they all will be multi-millionaire by the time they get to 2005. That was not in their plan. And the people who planned that we have this retirement are now sitting in Iowa and the government would not pay their rent. Say, get out, you are living in a hotel. They say, why you don't have a place to go to? The whole thing is washed by the floods. What do you want me to do? What they planned. We don't want to move away from here. It's a nice living right on the beach. We are set for life. You can look at this and learn from it. Or you can look at this and say, well, they were not too smart. I would not make a house near the beach. And I'm going to plan better. And then you will find some people in Texas, they will tell you, yeah, we are away from the beach, but tornado took everything. Right? And then someone says, well, we are not going to be hit by tornadoes, we're going to go to California. There are no tornadoes there.
Yeah.
Sure.
And then the earthquake comes and says, holy smoke.
Yeah.
Which part of the world do I run to? And Gurbani says, don't run. Listen and watch and learn. Whatever is happening, there is a greater force, a higher energy writing all that drama. Just play the role. Just remember you are an actor here. So just act and watch. When you do that, what happens? Gur Prasadi man vasai name rahe samay. That's what happens. See the hymn? How it is linked together? Bin gur rog na Tutaee home peed na jaye. Gur Prasadi man vase name rahe samay. Gur shabdi har paaye bin shabde parma pulaye. Without understanding this, without internalizing this into your heart, what will happen? Say bharma bhulai. The whole life would be spent in a state of tree-like zone. A bharam. Bharam means what? An illusion. You will take something that's not real, you will think it is real. And what is real, you will completely ignore. Well, what's wrong with that? What's so bad about it? Well, nothing is bad about it. If that's what you want to do, you will keep on coming again and again and again. You keep on repeating the cycle. That's all. Nature is not certainly going to come down and say, you idiot, why don't you learn this lesson? Nobody's going to come down and say that to you. The nature is going to say, you haven't learned the lesson? Fine, go back. This is the only school which doesn't care how many times you come back to learn the same lesson. Every other university will say, since you have not learned the lesson 3 times, change your subject. This school doesn't say that. They say, well, nature isn't going anywhere. We are not in a hurry. So if you want to repeat this mistake ad infinitum, go ahead. And someday, somewhere along this journey, you will reach a stage just as Kabir said, अब की बार बख्श बंदे को बाहर ना भाव जल गया. कहत कबीर Sunore santo, khet hi karo nabera. Complete this right now. I'm done. Ab ki baar bakshu. Forgive me for all the past and please get me out of this. Bahar na bhav jal phera. I don't want to go through this cycle again and again and again. I've seen enough. A time comes when every entity, every soul, every human being reaches that stage and yearns for no more. Enough of laughter and enough of tears. I don't want this anymore. When you get to that stage, you start asking these questions. Kiv sachiara hoi hai? Kiv kude tutte pao? How do I get out of it? I see I'm in a cycle. I see I'm in a rut now. I want to get out. Those who do not want to get out, perfectly okay. Don't call them bad. Don't call them wrong. Don't call them stupid. They are not. They just want to enjoy this. And they are willing to pay the price for that entertainment. Because every laughter will be followed by some tears. Every happiness will be followed by some sadness. And they are okay with it. If they are okay with it, leave them alone. That's what Gurbani says. That is a Guru Prasad. That is also a Guru Prasad that the soul gets to a stage and say, I'm done. I want to get out of here now. It doesn't happen otherwise. It is also a Prasad. Why? Har eko data vartada duja avar na koe. Because that grace is also going to come from the same. Har eko data. If there are two gods, you could say, this God doesn't give me, I'll go to that one. There is no other. Everything flows from the same source. For everyone. It is unfortunate that the man has decided to call the God his own. Right? Everybody's God is unique, his own. And they have characteristics of themselves. Even today. Even those who say God is one, they will tell you that this God actually likes to punish you because you are not following this. Isn't it? The whole of the universe is built around that. All of the Judaism built on a precept of one God. All of the Christianity is built on the model of one God. All of the Islam is built on the model of one God. Sikhism is built on the model of one God. Yet they can't sit together in the same room because my God is better than yours. Right? How much have we understood? Or we just talk and talk and talk and create more problems and problems and problems and argument after argument after argument. And Gurbani says, now, would you hold down? Your God isn't any different than that God, and that's it. If there are too many of them, we'll be in big trouble. We have one, and look at what is happening to us. Can you imagine if there are too many gods? What really? One God, and we have so much confusion. Even though there's one God, we said, wait a minute, we are going to create our own. So what did we do? We created some statues, we created some paintings, and we named them. Not only named them, we worship them. We pray to them. We present offerings to them. I just came from, all of you know, I just came from India, and some of the people over there are very, very strong in their belief systems, and so we are the followers of so and so deity. It doesn't matter, whatever deity it is. And I would ask them, how do you know this deity exists? What's the proof? Well, there is this story. I say, yeah, I know there is a story, but the question is, how do you know a story is not a fiction? At least we can step back and say, there is a super energy somewhere, you can call whatever that you want to give a name. But if you have any kind of form that you have created out of your own imagination, means human imagination, how do we know that's real? Can anybody prove it? Well, if you go to so and so mountain and this is what is happening. Okay, there are a lot of phenomena in the world which cannot be explained with the common logic. Till fuller research is done, we find out. But how do you took the jump from this? Well, this is happening here, so there must be a deity that is causing this to happen. How do you get to that conclusion? They will answer. They will buzz. The conversation will just deadlock and end there. And I wonder, this is the land which gave birth to the highest possible consciousness on this planet. And how is it that this is the land where the intellect has completely frozen? Whosoever is frozen, wherever is frozen, that's exactly where it's frozen. And they are not willing to even explore it. Just leave me alone. I'm okay with my rituals. You walk anywhere in the city of Amritsar after 4 o'clock in the morning. The TVs and radios are blasting at a full volume. And the people have loudspeakers on the top. Somebody is singing bhajans and somebody is doing kirtan and somebody is doing Mother Gita and somebody is Hanuman song, somebody Ganesh, and it's mind-boggling. Till 8 o'clock in the morning, at the top of everybody's lungs. And that is the most rude land now. The people, the softness of Punjabi and the respect and the dignity of conversation disappeared completely. Nobody said G to anybody anymore. I was surprised, stunned.
But that's the best they can do in this rat race. Everybody's, once they start going to work, they just forget everything.
Completely.
So they think, so in that respect, I suppose those few moments spent for them listening to whatever.
The human interaction to each other, respect for each other, completely
Oh, yeah.
jealousy with each other at the top of the agenda. He has this car and I don't, he has this television, I don't, and he has this big house and I don't. Complete discussion all through the waking hours revolves around this. And my constant questions to them was, a bhakti, a kriya karam, a meditation, whatever you do, is it helping you to manage your greed or your anger or your ego? Is it helping you at all? Or is it going in the opposite direction?
But even beyond that, is that process even being done to attain those things? I think maybe all that is done to attain the worldly stuff.
No, but listen to what Mrs. Mahajan just said.
That's it.
Those few moments of
Then
tranquility,
it
right?
takes that.
Those few moments of tranquility or peace, right? That's what the perception is.
Mhm.
But the question is that really peace or tranquility?
They themselves even are not listening to
They
it.
themselves are not even listening, much less the.
Yep.
That is the tragedy of this.
See, it's not that they truthfully are attaining anything, but they are creating this thing that they are at peace or they're doing the right thing.
And that is the illusion.
Yeah.
And that's the illusion we are talking about. If you want to spend the life in that illusion, which is what this topic was, har eko data vartada duja avar na koi. That's not in their memory. Because I was dared by my own blood relation, said, well, if you have anything better than that, then show me. Do something. Prove to me.
Magic. Magic.
Magic.
Should have done some card tricks when
Then how are you different than me? So no, I'm not. Except that you are agitated like crazy and I'm sitting there, would you please cool down? We can't even have this conversation without letting the blood pressure rise up. Can you have the same conversation? We're talking about spirituality. I'm not attacking you. I'm not condemning you. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just asking you, please inquire within yourself that 50 years of non-stop, and that is the matter of pride for you, that I have not missed a single day. And I respect that. That level of discipline and dedication is really exemplary. But then I would like to know how much peace, inner peace you have achieved. And how does it reflect in your day-to-day life? And if it isn't, wouldn't you want to ask yourself, am I doing something wrong? How is it? And that inquiry might help you, might revolutionize something. No way, Jose. Don't even you open that topic with me. I am too much invested in this process. And now, no, if I miss a day, something terrible happens to me or to my family. And that's another thing. Either to me, anything that will be happening around their environment that they don't like, oh, I missed this morning. That's a punishment from that source of energy to me because my child's child is suffering. That's when the mind-body system is trapped like that, Gurbani calls them manmukh. So prabh nadar na avai, manmukh booj na paye. They are trapped by their own mind. And they cannot be relieved out of that by anything else. So seek the grace. And when the grace comes in, what happens? Man re, nij ghar vasa hoye, Ram naam salatu, fir aman jaan na hoye, hari ko data vartada, duja avar na koye, shabd salahi man vase, sahje hi sukh hoye. The word sahaj, an equilibrium, an even keel, a quietude of the mind. Not to make this also as a big ritualism. I'm going to get up this morning and I'm going to sit with my cross-legged and I'm not going to do this and I'm going to do for an hour and a half. Don't make this into a punishment for your body. It's a sahaj marg. It is not the ritualistic aspect of the body. It is the quality of the mind. The changes are going to happen from inside toward the out, not from out to in. Very difficult process if you want to do from out to in. It has been done. Patanjali did that. But there are not too many Patanjalis in this universe. But there are a lot of Ananiks and Kabirs in this world. They followed from inner to outer. Change the thinking process. You don't need there is no method, well, how do I change? There's no how. Today you think I do it, start saying, no, I don't. He does it. That's it. There is no complexity here. Gurbani wonders, Padar, Padar ham firi, Padar kahe na koi, Jaye pucho se aaniya, dukh mera kaate koi. Meaning what? I am going around asking everybody, what is the way? Padar means Rasta. Padar hum firi. Raste. Everywhere I'm going around and asking what? What is the right way? How do I get rid of this? Jaye pucho seaneya, dukh mera kaate koe. Guru Maharaj said, what are you talking about? Jodan hara sant nanak padar padro. Padra rasta level. It's very easy. There is no complexity here. No rituals to be followed. Nothing to be done that is extraordinary to punish your body or mind system. Just change the way it is thinking now. Right now it's running toward outside, turn him inside. Right now he's the doer, give him some other doer. Right now everything is mine. Developing attachments. One of my nephews started calling me Guruji. I shot back at him. Wait a minute. You're falling in the same trap. I just wanted you to get out of it. But that's also an attachment. A body is never a guru. A body can never be guru. It is a mistake. It is the words that are coming out of the body's mouth that can help you, not the body. Word is the guru. Shabad is the guru. Because that's what is helping you to change. So hold on to the Shabd. Leave the body away. Which is what Sikhism said, right? And then we misunderstood it so badly that as a matter of fact, we started a couple of branches as opposed to this. Well, no, there has to be a guru. We need the guru in physical form. Namdhari Sanstha is because of that. Radha Swami Sanstha is because of that. We need somebody in physical form. And Guru tried to explain. It doesn't matter where the word comes from. You can read it in a book. And that can change your life. You can listen on the radio, watch it on the television, read it in a newspaper, get it from a magazine, listen from a neighbor. How does it matter where the word came from? The fact is that the word changed your life. The fact is the word helped you to conscientiously evolve. It is the word that is significant, not the source of the word. And that's why it keeps saying, Gur Shabdi Har Paiye Bin Shabde Bharm Bulaye. If the Shabd, if the word is not understood, you are going to be in Bharma, in an illusion. So understand. Har ek man re nij kar vasa hoye Ram naam salatu fir aman jaan na hoye rahao Hare ko data vartada दूजा अवर ना कोए शब्द सलाही मन वसे सहजे ही सुख होए सब नदरी अंदर वेखदा जय भावे तां दे. Everything is under him. He watches everything. Right? That's what Japji said. Eka mai jukte vyai tene chele parwan ek sansari ek pandhari ek laye devan. वो वेखे उन्हें नजर नहीं आवे बहुत ही बड़ा वो वेखे. He sees everything. He watches over everything. He knows everything. In other words, he created the Maya. He created the illusion. He can watch that. But the people trapped in the illusion, they cannot watch him. वो वेखे उन्हें नजर नहीं आवे. It's this way, not that way. That's the beauty of the creation. Bahtai Vadan. And that's what it's saying. Sabnadri andar vekhda jai pave tante. Wherever the grace is, it comes. Hame sabba ganata hai ganto ganate naam sukh nahe. Bikh ki kar kamavani bikh hi maye samaye. Bin naame thaur na pani jampur duk sahay. If you are not going to get this through your mind and you are not going to accept this, here is the end result. It's not saying that it's bad. Not saying it's good. It's just saying that's the way it is. If you don't get it, what will happen? Haume sabba ganata hai. The whole of the universe is suffering from that. What? Haume. That ego. And so long as in that you're trapped in that ego, ganate now sukha nahi. You would never understand and experience the real bliss, the real sukha. You will never know that. Why? Because bikhi kar kamavani bikhi maya samay. When you are going to be attached with the negative, the result is also going to be negative. There is no other way about it. So, if you want to get out of that, remember, bin naame taur na paani jampur dukh sahay. Without that ultimate understanding, without that meditation, without that Naam Simran, you would never get to the right place and you would continuously go through the suffering of life and death cycle. So, what should you do? Reminder comes back. Jio pind sab tisda tisse ka aadhar. Jio pind. Jio means this life energy that's inside. Pind means this body. That body form and the energy that is behind it, both are gift. And both are being sustained by him. Tisse da aadhar. He is the one who is sustaining you. Gur prasadi bujiye ta paye mokh dwar. If with his grace do you have understood this riddle, bujharat bujiye. It's not a mystery. It is just a riddle. If you have gotten this riddle, then it is a possibility by mokh dwar. You can get to the enlightened state. So what should you do? Nanak naam salah tu antana paravar. So get into that process of the meditation so that you can eventually experience that one whose end is not known. Antana paravar, the one whose cannot be measured. Par means the other side. When you cannot know the other side, you can also get to that stage if you get that basic principle. Those who have gotten that basic principle, there is a description of that in the next hymn, which is Tinna Ananda Sada Sukha Hai Jinna Satcha Naam Adhar. See and again the link. The last line was Gur Shabdi Nanak Naam Salatu Antana Paravar. Those who have understood this, gotten that into their mind body system, and they get on the process, what happens to them? Next hymn starts. Tinna Anand Sada Sukha Hai Jinna Sach Naam Adhar Gur Shabdi Sach Paya Dukh Nivaranhar Sada Sada Sache Gun Gave Sache Naye Pyar Kirpa Karke Apani Ditonu Bhagat Bhandar. Whole of the paragraph is talking of that grace, that prasad. Those who have received that prasad, and what are they doing? They are now focused on that Shabad. Gur Shabdi Sachapaya. They have understood the word. They are not now chasing any guru or any santa or any sadhu, and they are not worried about any rituals and or any different type of practices of life. They now understand, I'm not the doer, he is. Hence, everything that's being done is wow, is really great. Nobody's right, nobody's wrong, everything is just the way he wants it. Nothing is good, nothing is bad, it's just the way he wants it. When we are put to test to look at that model, our faith shakes right away, because we can deal with, well, here is a 100 years old woman or a man and they are dying, oh, that's okay. Oh, wait a minute, here is a 1-year-old child who's dying. Now what I do with that? Is that good? Is that bad? It creates sorrow, it creates sympathy, it creates inside emotions. What should I do with it? Well, here is a king who is giving the money away, but here is a tyrant who is killing the people. Should I say that's good too? And we get into this struggle within ourselves. We completely forget that we didn't make this drama. I didn't write it. You didn't write it. Who's living, who's dying, who's born, who's sick, who's healthy. We didn't assign these roles. So since when did I become responsible for the whole universe? Wow, but that's very, very wrong. One of my nieces really said it like, well, I mean, isn't that crazy? What kind of God is this? Some people are happy, some people are sad. I mean, isn't that, does it make sense? What kind of mind that's a schizophrenic mind, isn't it?
That is necessary.
Isn't it? Look at her question. Say, are you trying to tell me God is schizophrenic? That he's a sadist and a masochist at the same time? Some people are happy, some are unhappy, some are suffering, some are enjoying. What is this? And I smiled, I said, well, your question is so innocent that I even don't want to answer this. For you, yeah, God is like that. Some people are happy and some people are sad and some people are smiling and some are crying. That is His word, really. Well, that's not so nice. Yeah, God is really not that nice. How would you want to have your life? No, everything should be happy. Everybody should have everything. No. Once I go back there, I'll give you a message to him. You didn't make this world right. You need to redo it. That's the human element. You can call it a naive mind, you can call it an innocent mind or childish mind, who's looking at the creation and saying, this is all wrong. And then I ask her, so, well, you go to see the movies and a guy who's raping another woman and then the hero comes in and kills him. Have you ever questioned as to why the rapist is there in the first place? If the rapist wasn't there, then hero wouldn't have to shoot him. Oh, come on, Mamaji, that is just a story. That's not real. But this is real. This guy is suffering, it's real. How can you create that with a movie? That's what I give up. Such a mind can only be shaken up to disgrace. A human intellect would not be able to do anything with it. And such manmukh continue that cycle. Because it is that proverbial story when somebody is standing under the tree of a coconut tree and looks at it and says, well, that is stupid. Such a big tree and such a small fruit. And earlier he was wondering how come there is such a small and weak branch and look, there's a huge pumpkin here.
Yeah.
You remember that parable, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
He said, that's stupid, and then he comes back and he said, this is stupid, and then suddenly that drops right on his nose. And he said, thank God it wasn't the pumpkin. We want to redesign the whole world. In that movie, Oh God, there's a similar statement that the girl says, well, why did you make the neck of a giraffe so long? And he said, well, so that he could eat the leaves that are fresh on the tree. Well, that is stupid. Why not make the tree smaller? Rather than creating a giraffe with a long neck, why not make the tree smaller? And he said, well, I didn't think of that. Because the child doesn't know that the height of the tree is what is required for the bird, the little sparrow, to learn to fly. Have you ever noticed that the sparrows make their little nest at the highest possible level? Why? Because as soon as the eggs hatch and the baby sparrow comes out, the wings are actually stuck with the body. They don't open because of the fluid in the egg. Now, how should she do that? She feeds that little chick for about a day, and the next day she, with her foot, kicks him out of the nest, and the sparrow starts falling down. And the sparrow has a time from that to before he hits the ground. She better learn to fly. Better the wind of flowing opens the wings, and she flutters and she flies away. If she doesn't, she will die because she hit the ground. So the trees need to have that height for lots of these birds to learn to fly. But we want the tree to be smaller and the giraffe's neck to be smaller. That's our thinking. We want to recreate the whole universe. When the mind gets out of that type of a trap and say, no, wait a minute. Whatever you are doing, whatever you did, and whatever you will do is really okay. I may not understand all of it. I may not know all of it. But I understand now. And I accept that now. That whatever you're doing is okay. Those who get to that stage, Tinna Anand Sada Sukha Hai Jina Sach Naam Adhar. Now they are dependent on that Sach, on that truth. Adhar means the total dependence. They are now totally dependent on that thought.
So I'm saying those questions only go away when somebody has the global view, the fullest point knowledge. I guess that's what maybe Brahm Gyan is, right? I mean, otherwise each person is stuck at certain conscious level where they only see certain picture and they find deficiencies which their consciousness can't explain within their field.
Yeah, now what you're saying is true. The only caveat to that is that when you don't have that global view and you are presented with the global view, that you reject it. Therein lies the tragedy of the human existence. Not knowing is not a sin. That's not bad at all. Somebody asked, I think Aristotle defined intellect and intelligence. Why are some people more intelligent than the others? And he had a beautiful answer. He said, intelligence is like a cup. Once the cup is formed, it has a fixed size. But the tea in that cup is within your control, how much you want to put it in. And that is the knowledge. How much you want to absorb in that cup. The problem comes in when you are offered that and you say, nope, my cup is full. Leave this alone. I don't want this. I don't want to be open to this paradigm at all. I mean, I was shocked reading the Time magazine that a 9-year-old will ask the father who is training the suicide bombers that I want to be a suicide bomber. And the father said, why? And he said, why to live on this earth even one more day when I can live in paradise? Right? That's a promise. You become a suicide bomber and you go to heaven. And he said, why to spend one extra day on this wretched earth when I can be right now in paradise? It's the shortest cut available to go to paradise. So, give me the belt. And the father had no answer. How do you answer that question? When the mind is so frozen, and that is the conditioning of the mind from day one. You kill an infidel, your place in heaven is reserved. And the mind does not wake up and say, well, who has come back from the heaven to tell us that it really did happen? Well, it's written in the Quran. Well, that maybe you are interpreting the Quran. I don't know the Quran. My child doesn't know that. Maybe that is just a twist of the language, twist of the words. Maybe it was not that it is. How do we know it? No. That belief system is frozen. And nobody's going to open that.
But that's frozen for others. But for mullahs and bomb makers themselves, they don't want to go to the
They will get somebody else's song but their own.
They are the one who frees it.
But Gurbani is saying, look, if you are of that paradigm, good luck to you. What will happen? Here is what is going to happen. Hame sabba gant hai, gante nao sukhnai, biki kar kamavani, biki mai samai, ben name thaur na paani, jampur dukha sahai. Here's the end result. It doesn't say that you are wrong. It doesn't say that you are condemned. You say, well, you are condemned for repeating the same thing because you are not learning. And if you want to come back to the same school again and again, that's okay. That is your destiny. Those who have understood and accepted that model, here is their destiny. Tilna anand sada sukha hai, jina sacha naam adhar, gur shabdi sach paya, dukh nivaran har. They have understood the truth. And their dukh, the pain and suffering of life and death, will be permanently cut off. Nivaran har will be gone. Sada sada sache gun gave sache nae pyar, kirpa karke apne ditono bhagat pandhar. This is His grace that those who have understood it, they have now gone on the path of bhakti meditation. And what do they do? Manure sada anand gun gaye. Now you are into the bandiyan, uthdiyan, har naam te aave. Now you that into that phase. Every little thing remind you of Him. रंग हंसे रंग रोवे चुप भी कर जाए परवाह नाही किसे तेरी बात सच्चे नाए. If somebody is laughing, you remember him, he's laughing. Somebody crying, you remember him, he's crying. Somebody sitting silent, you remember him, he's sitting silent. You don't say, so the child is crying. You don't say the friend is crying. You don't say the wife is crying. You say he's crying. Because that's what is reminding you. If you get to that stage, what is happening? Then manre sada anand gun gaye. That's the stage then. Sachi bani har baiye, harsyo rahe samaye. Now you are getting closer to Him. Rather than increasing the distance, rather than increasing the gap, now the gap is on a reduction path. Sachi bhakti man lal thiya ratta sah subhaye. Gur shabdi man moya कहना कछु ना जाए. There is no words to explain that state and the people who follow that path. Language cannot explain that. It is such a beyond words situation. Man gur shabdi man moya कहना कशु ना जाए. There's no way to describe it. जिहवा रत्ती शब्द रचे अमृत पीवे रस गुण गाए गुरमुख ए रंग पाइए जिसनु कृपा करे रजाए. See, again and again that reminder. If that is the stage with anybody, Gurmukh e rang paiye. If anybody has achieved this stage, Jisnu kripa kare rajaye, it is because of His grace. It's not because of what they did. It's not because of where they were born. It is because of His grace. And they never forget it. But having heard it repeated again and again and again, not just by the house of Nanak, not by just the house of Buddha, not by just the house of Jesus and Muhammad, by everybody who has come on this planet has said these things in one form or the other. But the world hasn't heard it. And here is the proof of that. Sansa e sansar hai, sutyan rahan mein hai. Sansa, doubt. What is the proof of this? Sikhism is the only religion in the world who said, okay, you want proof? How many proofs you want? For 250 years in the land of Punjab, they produced Brahmgyani after Brahmgyani after Brahmgyani after Brahmgyani. 1, 2, 3 here. 17 Bhagat, 10 Gurus, about as many bards, but they're all documented here. Here is a proof. How much more proof do you want? That's not enough. Do some magic. Show me some power. That's exactly what was asked of Nanak. That was exactly what was asked of Guru Arjan. That's exactly what was asked of Guru Tegh Bahadur. Show us some magic. How do we know? You are a Brahmgyani. Show some power. And every one of them refused. We are not magicians. We don't do magic tricks. This is bhakti. Because showing a magic trick is sign of ego and arrogance. Right? I mean, if you make fool of me and say, well, see?
Now we are convinced.
Right? I just took the quarter out of your ear. What is that? Is not a sign of arrogance or ego? See? You trying to kill me and I'm not dying. Isn't that sign of ego? How can a Brahmgyani do that? And they say, well then how do we believe you? I say, don't believe me. That's okay. Your believing does not affect me. If I am a liar for you, I'm okay with that part. That's alright. Which is what happened to all of them. Not only them. Guru Tegh Bahadur had Pai Dayala with him, Matidas, Satidas. Each one of them were killed with a different method. Dayala was literally boiled in water, living. Matidas was cut in half with a saw. Satidas was burned alive by wrapping the cotton around his body. I said, well, since you are a Brahmgyani, go do something, show us. And none of them said, oh, wait a minute. You do what you think is necessary. That magic trick will not be shown to you. Sansa, doubt. Sansa eh sansar hai. That doubt is not being abandoned. So then what happened? Sutyan rahan vihar. The whole ran doesn't mean just the night. Ran literally translates to night, but this is whole life. Sutyan doesn't mean sleeping. Sutya means in ignorance. Agyanta. So Tyan and Vihai, whole of the life is wasted in that doubt. How do I accept this word? Which is one of the sentences that I was asked there in Punjab also by one of the. Well, where do you take your inspiration from? I said, Guru Granth. So you think the Guru Granth is telling you the truth, right? What if this is telling you a lie? What are you going to do? Okay. To you it can speak a lie. To me it can never speak a lie. It doesn't tell a lie to me. These words literally jump out of the page and embrace me and tell me what they are, who they are. And they have not lied to me ever since they started talking to me. I had no capability to know these words. They know me, I don't know them. Do you? Well, that's an assumption. Don't you think? I mean, you are an intelligent man. You know, come on now. Isn't that an assumption? I said, of course it's an assumption. That's what it's called faith. That's what it's called bhavana. Have some bhavana on something. And if your bhavana is because I have no bhavana on anything, that's a bhavana too. Your bhavana is you don't have one. That's okay. You don't believe in God? Well, you believe in not believing in God. That is a belief system. You cannot say that I have no belief system. It's impossible. Not to have a belief system is impossible. Just as silence can never be declared. Right? As soon as I say I am silent, what happened? It's gone, isn't it? Silence cannot be declared. It's the law of nature. Similarly, you cannot live without a faith. You can have no faith, which is a faith. That's the design of life. You cannot run away from that. You might as well accept it, acknowledge it, and make some good use of it. This is the nature of the beast. Accept that. And if you accept that, maybe the consciousness will start going a little higher than getting stuck down to the ground at the zero level. And that's what Gurbani is saying. Sansar ye sansar hai, sutyan and vihai. In doubt, the whole of the life is spent in ignorance. Ek apne paane kad layen ape layon milaye. But he has the grace and the power to pull these type of sources and energy out and help them to move on the right path. Ape hi man vasya, ape aap man vasya maya moh chukaye, aap vadai ditiyan gurmukh de bujaye. It is possible for him to turn all these things around. Ape hi aap man vasya maya moh chukaye. He can give that grace to somebody so that somebody can free itself from the attachments of the world. Aap vadai ditiyan gurmukh de bujaye. He gives the grace. How? He comes through the Guru's mukh. He comes through somebody and solve that mystery. De bujhaye, bujharat, nu solve kar danda. I mean, it has happened to me so many times in life. I would be wondering and constantly struggling with this something in my mind, and suddenly a phone will ring and say, "Pari, oh, ki hoya si? Oda te aitara nahi ho sakda." Oh, I was trying to solve this. Oh, thank you. How did you come? Somebody will send a tape. I'll put the tape and then there will be some words and that will click with something that was bugging in my head for so long. I said, oh, thank you. I mean, his ways are that way mysterious. Right? We insist that you should appear us in our room and say, here is the solution to your problem. We are not going to accept it otherwise. Because you have not come. And I want you to come in the form with a mukut, and you should have a Sudarshan Chakra in your hand, and you should be flying on a Garud. You want some answer from him, he's providing you with the answer. No, hold it. Not like that. Not like that. I mean, it's literally like, that they tell a joke that some Nihang was standing on a road and was begging for money. And somebody stopped by and say, okay, here's the money. He said, hold it. So what, I thought you wanted the money. Yeah, I do want the money. Put it in your hand. So you put it in your hand, and then he says, Nihanga never begs. He always takes away what he wants. I have to take the way I want. Which is what we insist from him. I have a question for you, but you have to come appear before me and then give the answer. But you just pointed me to a book which I should be reading. No, that answer I am not accepting. You send somebody to us? No. He has nothing. You should come personally. Nature works its own way. It gives you the answer. Somebody drowning and praying, please save me, and playing. Somebody throws a rope to him and he says, come, I'll pull you out. He says, wait a minute. I've been doing meditation for the last 50 years. He will save me. Don't worry, you go. Helicopter rescue team comes and they throw him the lifeboat and say, come on, we'll pull you out. No, wait a minute. Helicopter is not going to save me. He is going to save me. So that's what's going to happen to him. And I mean, the joke is exactly like that. He goes and they say, well, you didn't save me. So what do you think? Who was throwing you the rope? Who was flying the helicopter? You insisted that there should be a mysterious hand appearing from somewhere. It's not going to happen. Nature sends you the energy that you need, when you need, how you need. It creates that set of circumstances. It is for a purpose. That is why thy will be done. That is why hukam razai chalana. Accept that. If you don't, then what is going to happen? What I said earlier. You are going to repeat the cycle. Understand, he does it the way he does it. He knows how to do for whom, at what time, why. Sabna ka data ek hai, pulyan laye samjhaye. Ek ape aap khwayen, duje chadiyan laye. He's the only one. There are few who accept him. Those who accept him, they get freed. Those who don't, ek ape aap khwayen. Khwane means khwar hona, means just get totally lost in the world. Duje chadiyan laye. And some are completely freed because they listened. They accepted that. Gurmati har paiye, jyoti jyot samaye, andar name ratya nanak naam samaye. Gurmati har paiye. Understand that you following your own mind, following your own knowledge, following your own memory, following your own conditioning, you are not going to go anywhere. You will have to listen to those who have gone ahead of you. Gur Mati. Guru's intellect. Guru di Mat. If you listen to those who have gone ahead of you, you will also be able to get to the stage of Jyoti Jyot Milaye, Andan Name Ratya, Nanak Naam Samaye. If you remember this Anadin, day and night, if you practice that, if you start doing the abhyas on that, you will be able to get to the stage for which this life is offered to you. So today we conclude at the hymn 58, and in our next sitting we'll pick it up from there. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Open for discussion.
संडे ਨੂੰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰੇ ਆ
हाँ जी, 12 माह शुरू कराएंगे।
अच्छा
11 बजे।
In the beginning, you mentioned about
Uncle, how was India? How was India?
Ah,
Uh,
let me answer.
Go ahead.
How is it in my
No, you had mentioned about that those who planned never got anywhere. Those who did not plan, they got there somewhere or
No, I mean,
got there.
never is a strong word. I said those who plan
did
sometimes
not
get
get
it.
It doesn't really mean one should not.
No, I'm not implying to don't do it.
One should not plan.
Yeah. All I'm saying is that when the people
But be
control
prepared.
the results,
Yeah, but be prepared to receive however it is delivered.
yes.
However it is delivered. But
Yeah.
planning for
You're
education
absolutely
and for
right.
life
It's
should
the
be.
end result that is the
Right.
when we got so focused on this. That's really. Yeah, as I told you, some of the India has changed a lot since I visited.
like how?
All basically
खाने को दो
they are
Busy?
खाने के लिए ले जाओ.
very successful.
Is it stable, right?
They are definitely more richer and
Yeah.
prosperous
Prosperous.
than 10 years ago they were.
When were you there last?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I've
last
only been
time.
there once when I was 3.
Okay.
So,
So you don't have any memory
Yeah,
of
you
it.
don't have the memories of when it was not good.
yeah.
So you will be okay. You'll enjoy it.
Okay.
I better get you some.
Yeah, that's the problem. Are you going to teach us the You are? So this is...
No, it is different.
In the morning? She goes to work like
This is the English scripture of six.
Until in the morning as well. She's a makeup artist for life.
Maybe ਉੱਥੇ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰੇ ਆਉਂਦੇ
That's
For
the
me, I think it's like makeup artist.
ਬਹੁਤ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗਦੀਆਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਬਚਪਨ ਤੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਪੂਰੀ ਦਿਮਾਗ ਚ
Oh yeah.
ਦੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਬਲਮ ਆ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ
So she had to surrender. I went to it. You did? You did.
So when I got to the stage that, okay, I've seen enough of
Oh,
life.
you did? Did you like it?
I met a guy. This is a barrier I need to get out of.
Do you have like English day besides the day? She normally takes today.
ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦੇ
You see, in our spirituality,
You did?
after all,
I feel so bad with you.
why do meditation? Why concentrate on something? Why follow this process on that? Any child will ask you, why should I do this? Why should I go to church? Why should I do this? Why should I do yoga?
Where's your daughter?
Well, You can say, well, you guys follow your health.
इंडिविजुअल
Well, I would might change my food.
रेवोल्यूशन ऑफ सोसाइटी
So then
बहुत सारे इंडिविजुअल इकट्ठे हो गए
you have just give an explanation that is simple.
She wasted like
In Sikhism, basically, it says that
oh yeah, because
the human body form
uni was hard for her.
is the only body form which has a
Yeah, it's a
potential
good school though. It's really good. Yeah.
of transcending the cycle of life and
And
death.
it has like the most memorable like days in the whole
A cow is born as a cow and will die as a cow. A cow has no capability to do anything else.
Okay.
Human body form is the only one that can raise the consciousness to such a level that it can terminate the cycle of life and death. So why not to utilize that potential? Right? Why not to actualize this? Why not to bring that closer to reality? So if that is the case, that you do want to bring to the reality, when would you want to not to have to be born again? I mean, if you are having too much fun with life, guess what? You say, hey, well, that's all right. I would like to have a life like that. Till you get to a stage where you say, well, seen enough. Same old thing repeated again and again. Just in a different form. Right? After that, we have only 5 senses. Right? Just the 5 senses.
Are they the young ones?
And they are the one which are enjoying. And they are the one which are suffering. Right? If the skin is enjoying the soft touch, it is also feeling the pinch. The same skin. If the tongue is tasting the sweet, it is the same tongue which is tasting the bitter. Right? So, when you get to a stage and say, well, wait a minute, I have had enough of this sensual input. I've seen it all. I want to get out of this cycle.
Yeah, I guess that's where I have an issue. It's like, I think that when you actually can observe yourself and not get attached to this physical senses, the
Yeah.
life as we call it, then we automatically don't get born. It's too many for me to say, oh, I've had
Yeah,
enough
yeah.
of this, then it's like an egoistic thing.
Yeah. Well,
To just like say that or think that, okay, I've had enough, I want to go somewhere. So I thought it was more.
well we are saying the same thing, just say play with words.
Okay.
Just to play with the words. Because if you are not getting attached, isn't that an egoistic state of life? I'm just observing, I'm not getting attached.
I don't know. I think one can maybe get to
Yeah,
that where
when
it's
you,
done by.
I'm saying that when, if we are going to play with the
Oh,
semantics,
okay.
if we are going to play with semantics, the one who says, I'm just observing, I'm not attached. Or the one who says, I'm done with it, I just want to get out of here.
Right. Okay. So it sounded to me like
Okay.
I have to wish for it.
No,
As far as I thought, it was a
it is a state of
transition.
mind.
Yeah, that's what I had thought.
It's a state of existence where you say, okay,
Or you just know.
are you basically saying there has to be something better, something higher than what this life is, or this the repetition of sensuality is. Right? Go to sleep, get up in the morning, eat and drink, and go to work and come back and sleep and eat and drink and continue the same cycle. Is this what the whole life is about? Or is there something more to this? And when that type of inquiry develops inside, is there all this to it? You get on this type of inquiry in 3 possible ways. And it has been proven again and again and again. The mind-body system is in a lot of pain because of the family, or because of the society, or has just been touched by a very spiritual soul. And you want to be like that.
What's
Those are
the third
three.
one? Touched
Touched by the world. touched by a spiritual soul.
In a good way or a bad way?
I hope in a good way.
Yeah. So
always
why is
good.
that? Why is that painful? That's,
No, I'm saying that the spiritual journey starts just, in Punjabi कहने ना,
okay.
या परिवार वालों चोट वजे, या संसार वालों चोट वजे, या करतार वालों चोट वजे. जे चोट नहीं वजी तो उस पासे वाल तुरना नहीं. माइंड बॉडी सिस्टम सोता रहता है. वो sensuality नु, senses नु enjoy करता रहता है. It doesn't wake up to that fact that there's something higher.
Yeah.
So it goes into the inquiry. Is there something higher than this? Only when one of these three things happen.
how about getting old? Doesn't that wake us up like we're getting old now?
Getting old means या संसार तो चोट लग रही है या परिवार तो चोट लग रही है.
Yeah, this is
जेकर बुजुर्ग ਨੂੰ ਠੀਕ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਸੰਭਾਲਿਆ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ, ਸਭ ਕੁਝ ਉਹਦੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਸਭ करे तो नहीं ना don't worry about it.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
ਇਹ ਹੈ ਜਦੋਂ ਬੁੱਢੇ ਦਾ ਮੰਜਾ ਬਾਹਰ ਰੱਖਿਆ ਤਾਂ ਹੁਣ ਨਹੀਂ ਰੋਣਾ ਉਹਨੇ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਕੀ ਹੋਇਆ ਮੇਰਾ. ਹਾਏ ਰੱਬਾ. ਹਾਏ ਰੱਬਾ ਕਦੋਂ ਨਿਕਲਦਾ ਜਦੋਂ 60 ਵਜੇ.
Just have to. You're right.
Right? So there is, to each his own kind of a thing, right? I mean, we say, what happened to Buddha? Right? If you read his story, they tell you, he was born to a king, raised like a prince, married to a princess, educated underground, was never seeing the light of the outside city. Everything was developed and created for him as if it's real. He was married, he had a son. Son was 18 months old when his father said, well, now I can expose him, he's okay now. So what happened? As soon as he came out, what does he see? Well, the story goes that he saw a flower that has withered, which he had never seen before. And he said, what happened to this flower? And the answer was, flowers wither away. And then he saw an old sick man walking around. He said, what happened to him? Well, people get old. I will get old too, like that. He said, of course, everybody does. He had never seen that. And then he saw somebody dead being taken to morgue and said, well, what's that? He said, well, he died. What do you mean? Well, he's no more, he died. Would I die? Of course you will die too. So then everything changes? What is this? Yeah, everything changes. No. There has to be something that doesn't change. But that he has not changed, seen himself being changed. And that was the hammer to him. And his consciousness immediately went on a journey. I want to find something that is not subject to the change. He went on a journey for 12 years. He went from place to place, from master to master. And whatever they told, he did. He did exactly that. But my purpose of telling you this story is that when you look at anybody's life, if you were to ask yourself, it's a Friday night, beautiful weather outside, how come I'm not having fun in a club, in a bar, or in a restaurant or somewhere? Why did I choose to sit in a crowd like this? What is the motivation? What's driving me? Right? Why I'm not seeking the pleasure of the senses, the palate, the nose, the eyes, the ears, the skin? How come I have chosen? And when you get to that question, you will find that something inside is saying, there has to be something better than this.
Yeah, it's true.
Isn't it? And that's what I was saying, that unless the mind-body system reaches that stage, which is also a grace, it's sort of a prasad, it's sort of a benediction from him, this type of journey doesn't stop. I don't know if I'm answering your question.
Oh no, you are. It was just part of the semantics.
Yeah, it was just a language.
But yeah, that's a good one. Just that it's not an egoistic thing. It's like it's gotta be, yeah. more meaning.
Yeah, then this is more to it.
So this is like a silly one I want to ask. Like your niece, maybe spend all this lifetime trying to get over the ego and go back. And according to what I heard today through Sikhism too, you say
Yeah.
you have to go through the words of a guru. So why was this illusion created in the first place? The whole ego and us in physical form. Why can't we just stay back there?
Yeah.
Wherever we came from?
Then the drama won't start.
Why don't?
When you have a little child and he's busy with something and you ask him, what are you doing? What does he normally say?
Playing.
I'm playing. Right?
Either playing or nothing.
Right? So you say, well, why are you playing? But it's fun. Okay? Creating an illusion is fun. So the creative energy, exactly. Creative energy created a drama and watching the drama is fun.
But fun is a term that's human, that we know here.
No, but it is a human term
And a human feeling.
and a human feeling.
Whereas I think
But for the creative energy, there is a beautiful parable, maybe that will help you. When the creative energy, when there was void, nothing, okay, just the creative energy. And the creative energy became conscious of itself. I am. No. I am. Just observe.
Okay.
Just observe and say, yeah, I am. But who am I? Okay. Take a piece of the self and say, am I this? No. That's a piece. Oh, so I'm not that. No. Okay, so leave this piece. Let's create another one. So what is the world? What's the universe? The creative energy asking itself, who am I? Finding the answer, am I this? No, you are not. Okay, let's create another one.
So it starts with the I.
I
the
am.
I that we are
I
trying to
am
get
that
over.
I am. Not you. Not me.
Yeah.
Okay? Stay with me. It's a little slippery.
Yeah, I said.
The creative energy in the primordial beginning, when it is just an energy and nothing else, becomes aware of the self. Okay? And becoming aware of the self inquires, who am I? That energy is asking a question, who am I? Okay, so we're going to find out, who am I? So I break a piece of myself and look at it and say, ask the same question, am I this? And the answer is obvious. You are part of something, but you are not this. You are a part. This is really not you. Now how do I find the answer? Well, okay, this piece didn't do it. Let me make a bigger piece. So he creates a bigger piece and asks the same question, and the answer comes back, no, you are not that. Okay, so let's go keep on creating and keep on asking till I find the answer. And the answer is not coming, the creation going on. Creation is still going on. And he's still asking, am I this? Am I this universe? No, you're not, because universe is part of you. Okay, so let's create another universe. Am I done now? No, you're not. You are still greater than that. And the drama goes on. You can go on the same journey and sit down and close your eyes and say, who am I? Well, I'm a woman. Now wait a minute. How do you know I'm a woman? Well, I look like a woman, okay. We'll remove everything surgically what makes you look like a woman. Now, who you are? Are you a woman still? Oops. That means body is not me. Maybe it's my name. No, if I named you something else, would it be different? Maybe name is not me either. Oh, maybe I am an engineer or a doctor. How can you be? Have you read something else? Would you be different? That's a profession. Oh, okay then. I'm not a man, I'm not a woman, but I'm a human. What makes you think you're a human? If I give you the injection and put you the human to sleep, do you become anything different? Who are you when you're dreaming? See? As you keep on, as Buddha will call, by the way, that method is the Vedas method. Ved Vyas created that method. What we call Brahma today? Brahma basically reached that stage of saying, have I known everything? Nahi. Have I documented everything? No. Neti, neti, neti. Neti means this is not it. This is not it. This is not it. And that became his mantra. So you can ask yourself the same question and turn it into meditation. Who am I? I am going to sit here till I find the answer to the question, who am I? And guess what is going to happen? The time will come, the questioner will die, and the answer will never come. The questioner will finish. Because there is no answer to the question, who am I?
So is this Jaswant Singh ji from one energy becoming many and then from many becoming one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of my...
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
So it's many energies, but it's... okay, I have...
एक तो अनेक,
एक तो अनेक ते अनेक तो फिर
गुरु गोविंद सिंह ने कहा ना, जब तो कर करा करतारा प्रजा तब देहे अपारा, right?
हाँ जी.
Udkar. When you wanted to expand from one, you became many. Okay, then what is next? जब आकर्षक करत हो कब हूँ, आकर्षक आकर्षण, right? When you feel like attracting back, what will happen? तुम में मिलत दे धर सब, then everything will merge back into you.
And just with that thought, knowing that one became many,
Yeah.
if that many sort of come to that realization that they are part of that one source,
That's right.
and that's it.
That's it.
That's...
Here is the sun, and I am just a ray.
Right.
But the ray has the illusion that there is no sun. Whatever it is, I am. That's it.
Yeah. So, well, because I have conversations like this, and typically I guess this is not a bad remark, but people try to make God seem like a human. Oh, he doesn't
No,
like
it's
this.
not.
He thinks, no, I mean, generally,
But
he
that's
wanted this. he
again,
wanted
that is the semantics, the problem with the language.
Right.
Okay? I won't call him he, I won't call him she, I'll call him
Right.
it.
It,
Well,
yeah.
does it help?
But
No, it
also
doesn't.
like it has feelings, or it means
No.
something, or so that's why when we said,
Nearly.
okay, who
Nearly.
am I and what am I?
But
like
that is that's not a feeling or sensation. It is an inquiry.
so even an inquiry.
Inquiry to know what is the biggest lesson to a human being. Know thyself.
being, yeah.
Okay? But human being, if you drop the shells and get to the core, drop the covering of the skin and covering of the body, underneath is what he just said. What are you? A ray of the same energy. Just as you would want to know the cell, that energy has exactly the same beginning. Who am I? A simple inquiry led to this creation. And the answer hasn't come back yet because he's still creating. The creation is going on, isn't it? I mean, the scientists are telling you, we have observed these, right?
Physical.
The galaxies being formed and the suns and the moons and they are being formed and this is going on and the universe is expanding, and right? So, the model that we earlier was living with, well, he created first moon and then the sun and then the earth and then on the sixth day he rested. Right? The problem with that model is that if he is done on the sixth day and the seventh day he rested, that means the creation is finite. Right?
Yeah, so the physical creation is
Finite. But it's not. The creation is not finite because the creator is not finite. Creation cannot be finite because then he is limited or it is limited. That energy is not limited.
Earlier you said that he's asking that question, am I done?
Yeah.
But if he is the superior energy, he should know when he's done
That's
or when.
kind of what I'm saying too.
No, but that's a metaphor to explain the creation. I'm just a metaphor created by, if you want to read,
Of course,
Neil Walsh.
Of course we don't know what he's asking.
Yeah.
Neil Walsh's
Just our supposition.
conversation with God.
Yeah, I read it
He
a lot.
created that model
Uh-huh.
for a Western mind to understand the Eastern concept of infinite creation. And he said, well, he's asking himself,
That's a model.
am I this?
Still.
And he keeps on breaking a part of himself and keep on asking the question. And the answer hasn't come yet. So he keeps on creating.
But even,
I
I mean,
still
our
think about it.
consciousness, our mind is just probably not even capable of
Comprehending.
comprehending
It cannot.
or answering that question.
It cannot.
Right.
So it's like if you have a glass utensil, it drops on the floor, breaks into pieces. Now all pieces have the same characteristics
Of the glass.
of the glass. And one could be called a square, one could be called a circle,
Exactly.
and the square might say I'm a square.
Yeah.
And yet that piece wouldn't know where it came
Where
from.
it came from.
And what its original shape was.
It won't know that. Exactly.
It just doesn't have that capability.
And we have talked about this metaphor a number of times.
Yeah.
It's like grandson trying to understand when was his grandfather married. It's just not going to happen. An intellect asking the question of the time when the intellect itself wasn't born is beyond. So rather than trying to shut the intellect out, these metaphors or parables have been created trying to communicate that it is incommunicable. Right? Gurbani says Nanak Kathana Karada Sa. Right? Vikhay Vigsay Kare Vichar. He's watching it, observing it, and is enjoying it. But if you try to put it in words, you're going to fail. Why? Because the language is a creation of the human.
It's limited.
And it has limitations just as the humans have limitations. How something that's limited is going to explain the unlimited.
True.
It can only just run around it,
Right. Like
Never hitting the
try
target.
to explain infinity.
and never hitting the target. It's not possible. Just cannot be done. That's why surrendering the ego becomes easier, because once you get that through your head, that padala padal, lake agas agas, oluk oluk pad thake ved kehne. All of the wise ones who have been on this earth have tried to say it, have tried to document it, but they still had to surrender, say it can't be done.
And
It
this
has been
comes,
attempted, it will continue to be attempted, it will never be done.
and that comes from a Brahmani.
That comes from Brahman.
What's wrong with it?
The one who has achieved the ultimate state is called Brahm. Brahm means, Jnani means the one who knows, one who has experienced it, one who's a Buddha, one who's a Jesus. He's talking about that. Right? Jesus becomes a Christ at the moment in time and space when he says, "Thy will be done." Isn't his last statement on his earth? Right? His statement prior to that is, "O Father, why have thou forsaken me?" The last death, last cry of the ego. Why don't you do some miracle here? All the Romans should go blind and there should be lightning striking on everybody and everybody should be singing the glory of Jesus. Oh, nothing is happening. And the final statement, "Thy will be done." I surrender. When that I dies, Jesus dies and Christ is born. That is what the real means, born again. Not that you are raised from the dead. That's really pushing it. No, born again means what? The whole of the thought process has now turned inward, and now he's the doer of everything. My doer who was sitting here is now gone. You are the doer. Thy will be done. Till the human mind body system reaches that stage, it cannot know that creative energy. And the barrier is I. I am separate from that source. But that question that you said earlier is like the question, well, that is stupid. What is
Yeah,
this?
I
You
know,
just keep
that's
on
what I
playing
said.
this game? I mean, this is really stupid.
उसे कह रहे थे कि जितनी मर्जी ग्रुप पे खड़े होके प्रेयर कर लो, it doesn't mean anything, क्योंकि जो होना है वो हुक्म बजाई चलना वही होना है. So that means all this group praying or individual praying, it doesn't work at all.
Well, should it?
You're
Should it?
surrendering.
One group says, "Give me the victory." The other group says, "Give me the victory." So what should he do now? The answer is he listens to none. He does what he wants to do.
Whoever
Now the tragedy is,
wins,
whosoever wins is going to say, he heard my
It
prayer.
worked. It worked.
And that is the trap of the mind. That's exactly the trap of the mind. And a mystic knows that. A mystic says, "I'm not asking you to do anything different that you don't want to do. Just do what you want to do. Because you're going to do it anyway, whether I say it or not. So why bother? I just surrender. I just accept. I wait and observe. What are you going to do? I have planted this seed in the ground. I am watering it. I am nurturing it. Fruit may come, it may not come. The seed may die in the ground. Maybe while I'm asleep, a little bird will come and pick it and nothing will happen. Maybe it will snow. Maybe it will be such a heat Or maybe the weather will be so good that the fruit will come. I'll just wait and observe. I done my job, that's it. As Divansa was saying earlier, the problem becomes when we start focusing on the result. We can plan all 401ks we want. That's okay, go ahead. But don't be tied down with the result. Nobody's saying don't plan. Plan the education for your children, save the money away, that's alright. But it's totally possible that before the child even could go to the college, you needed that money for something totally different emergency. It is that portion that makes the human arrogant, because they constantly hammer on the end result. I did this, it should come out this way. If it didn't, you are a bad God. Because the neighbor you didn't do that to, you did it to me. And you go around the world of finding everyone will say the same thing. He's not doing for me. I don't know who he's doing for, but he's certainly not doing for me. I have such a miserable life. If I start telling you my story, you will cry for the rest of your life. So he is not for me. He may be for you, but not for me. Every soul says that.
So that's the problem, where the soul hasn't become the observer. The soul is saying...
It's still result on the focus on the result.
So what about when there is power of intention, knowing that it's going to happen? Doesn't work?
It's just like that. We just use the example. If it works, it's your power. If it didn't, well, you didn't do right. You didn't have the faith enough. You didn't do something right. You didn't do it powerful enough, sincere enough. They will always get out of turning the blame back on you, rather than saying, hey, it may work, it may not work. Right? You are pregnant, either it's a boy or a girl. I mean, it's the end of discussion. You can either be right or you can be wrong. I mean, that's the only two ways.
So actually he says, like, if there's no doubt, you know.
Okay, so he's already free. How are you going to prove? How are you going to prove that you didn't have a doubt? Right? If it worked, see, I told you. Mind over matter. Well, why it's not working for me? Well, you don't have the faith. There must be some doubt lingering somewhere. It is as well. It happens, the way it happens, when it happens, where it happens, how it happens. Life is a drama.
Accept your role.
Accept your role. Some are heroes, some are villains, some are mediators, some are introducers, some are getting introduced. It's a drama, different roles. Why have I been given this role? I don't want to play the role of a cancer patient. Give it to somebody else. No, you have been given the role of a cancer patient, and there is a nurse who's being trained to take care of you, and there is a hospital who's making money out of you. Their livelihood depends on somebody having a cancer. The whole network. You are just focused on your suffering, but if you look at the design, that design has lot more players in that drama. Your children, your wife, your friends, the caretakers, the doctors, the surgeons, the insurance companies, the legal departments. They're all linked in this drama. It becomes difficult when you talk to somebody who has suffered. Say, for example, if you were to talk to somebody who survived the Holocaust, right?
Yeah.
Try to tell them it is this drama,
Exactly.
right?
I'm sorry.
they would like to shoot you.
And
That is when the real divinity rises inside you. When you can see not from only the positive side but from the negative side also and see, yeah, that's a drama. That is a drama. Hitler is a player of a tyrant, is the role of a tyrant, and he cannot be a tyrant if there are no victims. Right? Somebody has to be the recipient of the tyranny if there's going to be a tyrant.
those people, it's hard for them to accept. Yeah, and people in Africa.
Yeah. If there is going to be somebody who's going to be giving something to someone, there has to be a receiver on the other side. You cannot set up a transaction that's one-sided. So when you see a hungry child, your hand goes into your pocket and money comes out. You don't give money to a child who's already fat. Right? Actually, you may take the candy away from him. It is a drama. See the truth of the drama when you are sick and when you are happy in both stages. Then you are getting closer to the divinity.
So that's kind of Buddha says whole life is suffering.
Well, he went to the other extreme.
Probably, yeah.
He went to the other extreme. He said it is not the... He says, मानव का जन्म नहीं होता, दुख का जन्म होता है. It's not a human. It's not the birth of a human. It's the birth of a suffering. Because the start is suffering, right? He's saying one who's being born is suffering. One who's giving the birth, she is suffering. They both are suffering, aren't they?
At that moment, yeah.
Yeah, so the start of life is what? That's his logic.
His point of view.
Is that really?
Very good point.
And that he based the whole philosophy.
No. He's saying, now look at this. The life is scattered with painful events, separated by some pleasures. Okay? Or you can look at the life and say, I got so many pleasures, separated by a couple of... The psychologists and social scientists have documented that there are major events in everybody's life over about every 7 years period. If you want, read passages by Gail Shee. Gail Shee. Yeah. S-H-E-E-Y. Gail Shee. Passages. Which was a social study done of some 300 couples from various parts of the life, and she tracked their life cycles. Subtitle is The Predictable Crisis of Middle Age. Passages. And she went up to the age of 50, studied from their birth to, and recorded that every 7 years there are major events in the life which determines the direction of life.
Although it may feel like there's a major event every 7 days.
Is it 7 years like
Sometimes.
7, 14, like that age? Or
Yeah, right.
7?
I mean, give or take, she averaged it out. I mean, think about it. 7 years of childhood, then 7 years of primary school, then 7 years of the high school, then study, then the marriage, then the career issues, right? Then the children issues, So she said that all of the humans went through these events, and every one of them had some sort of a life-turning crisis which determined their life direction.
Astronomically, there is some cycle
Yes.
which is
Yeah.
7
Very
years.
soon.
Yeah.
Every
Yeah.
cycle.
And the medical science says
7 years cycle.
that from first year to about the age of 30, every cell in your body rejuvenates itself in about 7-year cycle.
Right.
And then after 30 or so, just keeps on dropping, but doesn't recreate itself,
Recreate it.
hence the aging phenomenon. So Buddha's outlook was that the life is nothing but series of unhappy events separated by few laughs. Okay? And you can turn the model upside down and say the life is sequences of laughter interrupted by a few unhappy events.
And then he came up
Then
with the middle part.
looking positively.
Yeah, half glass full or half empty situation. But his point was, and which is the same point that we've been talking about, life is both happiness and tears,
It's an illusion.
right? Sukha and dukkha. So, if you are comfortable with both the situation equally well, by all means, don't do anything else. Just continue.
Just one thing, Buddha's life would also be seen as an experiment where people say, only good should happen.
Yeah.
So for initial part of his life, he was protected from the bad, and only good happened.
21 years of age.
And his consciousness really didn't evolve until the other
Other side was given to him.
introduced to him.
Absolutely.
So
I mean, there were strict orders
Yeah.
that he should not even see a flower with a yellow tinge in it. The gardeners will prune and seek, all the flowers were always fresh. There was nothing introduced in his life because the prediction was either he will become a Chaturvarti Raja or he will become a very big saint. And father wanted him to be a Raja. So he said, and the prediction was that his first 21 years are the crisis mode. So he kept him underground. Educated him, trained him to be a king, then married him off and waited for his child to be born. And the child was 18 months when he was actually brought out to the world. And on the very first day, he goes around and so that he can show how big your kingdom is. And he sees these 3 events on the very first day. And the next night, he kisses his wife goodbye and his child sleeping and he just leaves. I'm going to find something that's not subject to these changes. And for 12 years he went on asking the same question. Is there something that will lead me to something more eternal? And they gave him rituals that they knew, which he practiced. And the stage came when he said they're all liars. There is not anything like that in this life. Everything is subjective. I was a fool, I wasted the life, I listened to them. So there's nothing to be found. The day the last desire, I am going to find the truth. The moment the last desire dies, enlightenment happens.
thank you.
That's it. Thank you. Nice to see you again.
हाँ जी सही है
अच्छा लगा?
हाँ जी so it was
हम बहुत दिनों से थोड़ी याद दिला रहे समय आज थोड़े दर्शन हो गए
से ठीक है
हाँ हाँ हाँ
परफेक्ट
वो बेल्ट बनी हुई है सो संडे गुरुद्वारे
हाँ जी
हाँ जी आज लड़ी नवी शुरू कर रहे हैं 12 माह की
हाँ जी मैं फ्राइडे गया सो
हाँ।
10 बजे की
हाँ।
अभी शुरू करेंगे
हाँ।
so, be regular then. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm glad you came.
Yeah.
Your dad's the one.
Bye, Uncle.
Hello, beta. Good to see you.
Yeah, this is you too.
Hello. Don't fight with your father. Okay.